platform today in this afternoon to discuss and take forward the science about the new therapy area, new molecule. So, with this short introduction, today is a debate session which will involve more of discussion rather than slide presentations. So, we have our dynamic moderator, Dr. A. Srinivas Kumar, who is a senior interventional cardiologist from Apollo Hospitals, Hyderabad. And our first speaker will be Dr. Gokul Reddy, sir, who is also a senior interventional cardiologist from Apollo Hospitals, Hyderabad. And we have one more speaker, Dr. Dhiman Kahali, who is an senior interventional cardiologist from BM Birla Hospital, Kolkata. And with this short introduction, I extend my warm welcome to all the panel members present over here, Dr. Shailendra Singh, Dr. Srinath sir, and many other panel members present in this debate. So, with this short introduction, I would like to hand over the session to our moderator, Dr. A. Srinivas Kumar. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you, Abhishek, Prashant, and all others from Reddy's for arranging this in these tough times. Because all of you requested, I think most of the speakers have agreed. Other the situation is very bad. So what we thought we could do differently in this webinar is basically, or there are not 2 speakers or 3 speakers or 1 moderator, but there are 20 speakers like that. Whoever joined actually will be given an opportunity, should actually in fact speak 1 or 2 minutes about their utility of PCSK9 inhibitors and what do they feel about the stress of today's discussion is mostly PCSK9 inhibitors are very strong lipid lowering drugs and potency wise they're very highly potent and some of the brief indications I would mention, but basically we want to take opinion from all the doctors who have joined for regarding this usage of this molecule in the ACS scenarios. So as all we understand that acute coronary syndromes, we do see a lot of young patients coming with recurrent problems. The molecules could be used there. So as scientific knowledge also is kept in mind with some business background also, Reddy's is trying to push this molecule strongly in ACS type of scenarios. Whether Indian patients who have some high risk features could benefit, that is the point of discussion. But before we go there, what I would like to mention very strongly, I think many of you are already aware that PCSK9 inhibitors are known to be potent lipid lowering drugs. They get the lipid levels to ultra low LDL reduction concept has come. They get it down to less than 40 milligrams. And this again, irrespective of the pre-existing levels, also significant decrease is noted with this molecule. Another thing which is proven beyond doubt is the safety of this molecule apart from the efficacy. They're quite safe, and it has also removed our doubts that ultra-low LDL reduction, whether it could cause some of the troubles in this patient, that is also removed by following up the 4 years data. And 4 years data also showed that patients who had recent MIs of less than 2 years and then patient who had recurrent MIs and patient who had multivessel disease stand a higher chance of getting into trouble. And if you see, within 1 year, about 20% of them suffer an again MI. And again, if you see, again, when you follow up them for 3 years, again, about 20% of them are suffering with repeat events and increased mortality. So there is also a necessity to decrease further risk in these patients in spite of using high-dose statins. That is about chronic coronary syndrome disease events. There is also data to show that they're efficacious even in peripheral arterial disease as well as stroke reductions. That's what came out strongly in 4 years trial. And then now what we are trying to explore is acute coronary syndrome, whether these molecules could be used. What is shown with PCSK9 inhibitors is not only lipid lowering, they are found to be having a lot of very strong pleiotropic benefits like statins, what we knew. A lot of inflammatory markers are decreased and endothelial cell activation, interleukin decrease, and a lot of other pathologies are being noted with this molecule. That's how the beauty of research goes. Not only through all the cells in the body, like WBCs, platelets, and then thrombogenic things, everything is getting reduced. Inflammatory markers are getting reduced by the usage of this molecule. That's how they found benefit that not only in patients who have higher lipids, but patients with lower lipids also, irrespective of their lipid lowering benefits, are also seen with these PCSK9 inhibitors. There are some data which is coming up that T cells mediated mechanisms are also there, and platelet aggregation also is decreased to this. So a lot of newer things are coming up, and then very good review articles have come on the PCSK9 inhibitors and stressing this fact of other benefits apart from the lipid lowering in decreasing inflammation and atherosclerosis in this patient. So that's how whether this usage of this molecule could be beneficial in acute coronary syndromes where such risk is most, and also in the chronic patients who have recurrent events. That's what is being explored. Now we are going a step ahead of this and going into the era of mRNA-mediated inclisiran. It's also coming up shortly in the research. And what is required that. So we will, before going there, we will have, with this brief introductory comments, I would like to take opinions from each of you. I'm very happy that Dr. Seniors like Dr. Shailendra Singh and many others also joined this forum. All this is because all of us have a lot of interest on this PCSK9 inhibitor molecules because each of us want to do good to the patients, and we know these molecules are very potent and safe. That's how all of us, in spite of the busy schedules and tough times, we are interested to discuss on this new molecule. What I've suggested to Reddy's is whoever had used this molecule, let us get one forum and discuss everybody's take their opinions of usage of this molecule. I think we can utilize this platform more for that. And as it is already said, which is planned, and Dr. Gokul Reddy, my colleague, will discuss initially here and express his opinion about the usage of this molecule in chronic as well as ACS scenarios. And we have another very senior cardiologist from Kolkata, Dr. Dhiman Kahali, good friend and chair Interventional Council, also will express his thoughts. Let us not make it a usage of it only in ACS pro and against, but let us use this forum to express our opinions on this molecule in general also. Over to you, Dr. Gokul, for your comments. Then we'll go on to Dhiman. We'll go on to everybody else later. Dr. Gokul?
Sir, you need to unmute your mics, Dr. Gokul Reddy, sir. You need to unmute your mics.
I think can everybody else also open the cameras so that we can see each other and have it like a discussion? Because we are not having slides to project. Hello? Let us make it like this.
Yeah, hello. Everybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Srinivas Kumar, sir. Thank you, Dr. Reddy, for inviting me. And as usual, it's a very interesting topic. This actually reminds me of the brief introduction of Srinivas, reminds me of an editorial way back in 2000 when the statins were initially being said the drug of magic pills for reversal. There was an editorial in NEJM saying that in future we have infusion of medicines which remove the blocks from the arteries. Way back probably in early 2000, the article came. We feel that's actually coming to reality. What we feel is this is a magic pill for some. Specifically, what we see is in patients with stable disease. That's our practice as of now. Yes, ACS is an era where we haven't charted yet, but stable CAD is a disease where we are actually using the PCSK9 quite effectively. And in a brief experience of a couple of years, we have seen that probably who is on PCSK9 inhibitors actually are doing better than patients who on statin vis-a-vis their LDL cholesterol levels are there. And LDL cholesterol, what we see is really low, like 30s, 25s, 40s, not unusual for us to see 15s, 16s also. And going by the retrospective data, whatever it is there, we feel that this amount of cholesterol of ultra low, what Srinivas said is less than 50, 55, would definitely help in preventing the further events as in Fourier. So we are actually more than convinced of using this molecule in patients with stable CAD, uncontrolled LDL, despite the maximum medication. That is classic medication what we use, or somebody is not tolerating statins. To go into an ACS, still we haven't started. We actually review a lot of data, but yeah, this new study came, EVOPAX, which said that it's safe to use. Efficacy is questionable, but yes, we can always draw parallels that when it's efficacious in a stable CAD, it has to work in ACS also. So fine, but as of now, we haven't started using ACS. I would be more than happy to hear experiences of seniors to understand how it works in ACS. But for stable CAD, we are more convinced of the molecule and the efficacy of molecule reducing the LDL. ACS, we have our own doubts, and we are not the early movers. Like we usually wait for the data, then probably move to ACS. But yes, I would be more than eager to listen to people who have used it drug in ACS. Thank you.
Thank you, Gokul. I think what we all understand is this subset of patients have a higher risk.
That's true.
And people have gone to the extent of seeing how these molecules are benefiting. Apart from lipid reduction, they've also seen that plaque stabilizing things and the thin cap fibroatheromas becoming thicker. What all we studied with statins are also being noted with these molecules. And that's how we feel that this could work more. And the plaque regression also is Glasgow trial, and many others also showed the regression of atherosclerosis, atheromas regressing. All that will suggest us that could be working even in acute coronary syndrome of patients. Our safety, as it is established, so we don't mind giving any molecule which is safe, and if it can decrease further, do benefits in acute MI scenarios. It is a welcome thing, especially in NSTEMI, where there is likely to have again recurrent events, and MI with again multi-vessel disease, where you have plaques which are not very critical but significant plaques in the other vessels. These are subsets, I think, which could benefit by usage of this molecule even in the acute stages. Apart from very high, already established indications like in spite of using lipids, standard high dose statin lipids are high, and familial patterns and statin intolerance are anywhere there. I think let us hear from Dr. Dhiman sir. What is his experience, whether he started using this molecule in acute MI, ACS scenarios in our hospital?
Yeah, Srinivas, first of all, I thank Reddy's for inviting me to speak on the occasion. And we are going through a very bad pandemic situation, as Srinivas has mentioned. He's a very good friend of mine. And the thing is that if you ask my experience, I just want to talk about two gentlemen. They were admitted together about 4 months back under my care. And first, let us talk about a 34-year-old gentleman. And he was having severe unstable angina with rise of enzyme. So it was an NSTEMI case, but there was no ST elevation. But the ejection fraction was less. It was 40% like that. So we took the patient on the table, and before that I started with rosuvastatin 40 and other medications. And, the patient didn't respond at all, and he was getting chest pain off and on. And just before taking the patient on the table, because we treated the patient like STEMI and took the patient at the earliest, but 1 or 1.5 hours he was on the bed just getting the results of the this RT-PCR and all these things, and it took creatinine, took some time. He was having tossing in the bed. We had to give some morphine also, though morphine has been downgraded in STEMI patients and unstable angina syndrome. So we did an angiogram, and because I am not permitted to show the slides, otherwise I would have liked to show the slides, I took the patient on the table, and by the time that we took the table, the cholesterol report came. It comes very soon in our hospital. So cholesterol was 368 and LDL cholesterol was 260 like that. And triglyceride was also 300 plus. So anyhow, he was a fatty gentleman, and a lot of catches from ED, CBI, etc. He has a lot of knowings in the police. And I saw that ostium of the LAD and the proximal third and the circumflex, both are occluded, almost 90-99% lesion and full of thrombus. So I just, no question of balloon dilatation, because if I dilate, I normally in STEMI or such patients with huge thrombus load, I don't dilate with the balloon. I just thought that V-stenting will be very good. Another occasion, we rarely do SKS nowadays, but it was a Medina 011. So it is ideal for, V-stenting. And we did V-stenting, and Srinivas, you won't believe me that as soon as I started dilating for 5 seconds, the patient was complaining of severe chest pain, restless, and he was so much restless, he was moving the limbs, and it was very difficult to proceed. So just I dilated for 17 seconds. I don't dilate so little. Normally I go for longer dilatation. Then I went for the second dilatation. Fortunately, the stent opened well. No question of, IVUS or something in this situation, because the arteries were fully loaded. I have given a lot of Nicorandil, this and that. And that had good flow. So TIMI-3 flow was established after 2 short dilatations at adequate. And the stent boost showed very good, opening of the stent struts. And the patient became free of chest pain. So we injected, and the result was very good with V-stenting. Second patient also, like this, ACS NSTEMI, and the patient had severe elevation of cholesterol, probably familial hypercholesterolemia, just like this gentleman. Within 2-3 days, I got both the patients almost together. And within 2 days, I did both the cases, and the results were fascinating. And immediately, I started with this evolocumab molecule. First shot, I have given 420. And then I was going with 140 every 15 days. And believe me, Srinivas, within 2 months, his cholesterol, I didn't do at 4 weeks because they have a lot of expenditure. And within 4 weeks, it has come down by 40%. His cholesterol was, total cholesterol was 120, and LDL cholesterol was something around 50, 60, and in mid 50s, I think. And the patient was absolutely normal. I put on also adequate coronary dilators, prasugrel and aspirin combination, 40 milligrams rosuvastatin, and on top of that we have given. And believe me, both the patients has been doing very well. And I was very apprehensive that the patient has ACS and the patient has so much of high cholesterol, very young, so many catches, but the patient has been doing, both the patients, extremely well. And the cholesterol now of the first patient, 34-year-old, his total cholesterol is 85, 86 now, and LDL is 29, 30. So it's absolutely fascinating. And as you told, Srinivas, at the onset, I also support that. I believe from our little experience of using this molecule for few years over here, evolocumab, and before that, I was with that trial with alirocumab, and we contributed the maximum number of patients in this Asia Pacific region, that outcome trial, and which was presented in ESC, SEC, everywhere. And we saw in that trial, the results were very good because they gave us warning when with alirocumab, the LDL cholesterol was coming below 15, because our protocol was that we had to give half the dose of this molecule, alirocumab, in that particular Odyssey outcome trial, you understand, and we had to reduce the dose. So we knew that the LDL cholesterol has come down by 15. As a safety protocol, they warned us, and we have reduced the dose. Suppose we are giving 140, we reduce the dose to something below that. So this was the protocol. So we had some experience for the last 8 years, because Odyssey outcome, I think, started 8 years back, and the data was presented simultaneously with Fourier trial data just a few months later in some major meetings. So I have been using this molecule in ACS patients. Of course, in Odyssey outcome, we used in a little stable patient, because we are just beginning the experiments with these drugs, and it was a phase 3 trial. And the results were fascinating, because we observed that the reduction of total cholesterol and LDL cholesterol were fascinating. Then I was present in, I think, 2017, when Sabatini presented the data on Fourier in the late-breaking trial hall. And everybody was very keen. I took all the data, and really it was a fascinating data. And as you mentioned at the outset, it is not only the lipid lowering, not only lowers the total cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, triglycerides, it elevates HDL cholesterol a little. But the fascinating thing is that it reduces LPA also, little lipoprotein A, which these molecules do not produce, because the LPA was also 40 in both the patients. One had 52 and one had 42, like that. So both were elevated. So they reduce this little lipoprotein A. Now you can tell little lipoprotein A is not always bad in all the patients. I totally agree with you. Yes, Srinivas, it is not always, associated with coronary artery disease or peripheral arterial disease. But in 40% of the patient, it is associated with peripheral arterial disease or coronary disease or cerebrovascular disease. And they are not only atherothrombotic, but they are only thrombotic in some patients. I remember a patient, his LPA was 119. He was referred from Guwahati, and he had excruciating chest pain, so much so nobody in the CCU could sleep, and the sisters and brothers were complaining, sir, ye patient ko thoda hata dijiye. We have to, so we put him in a room, and we locally infused, this thrombolizing agent by putting a catheter over there on the from the right groin. We went to the left femoral artery. We had an angiogram in the cath lab. Only we put the catheter, and 24 hours infusion as we give. And believe me, after 72 hours, we took an angiogram. There was no angiographic evidence of any blockage or anything. So it was a pure thrombosis. So I was asking my colleagues, that junior colleagues, that what investigation you'll send. They told first, sir, cholesterol and also little lipoprotein A. So I was very happy. And little lipoprotein A was 119. And that was reduced, that can be reduced with this molecule. And the patient became totally free of symptoms, no pain. He had color changes. For that only, the patient has been referred to me from Guwahati by a surgeon, noted surgeon from there. And the patient became all right. So little lipoprotein A in 40% of the patient is not only atherothrombotic, but in some cases it is only thrombotic. And it causes a lot of peripheral arterial disease also. And as we know that now for the peripheral arterial disease also, the medical treatment also is very versatile. So just this is my little experience, but I have been used to this molecule for the last 8-9 years, almost a decade, initially with alirocumab. Now it has not hit the Indian market, soon it will be coming also. But during the last few years, I think 2-3 years, I have been using a lot of patient. We took to the lab, and by that time we had cholesterol and all this data, and we didn't lose anything. From the same evening, we started evolocumab first dose for 420, and both the patients has been. So what your statement is $1 million statement, because we want to cure this patient. We want to make these patients okay. And the patient's journey is fascinating. I totally agree with you, what you told at the outset. It is not only cholesterol lowering to total 80, 70, 90, whatever maybe, or LDL 25, 30, but it is something plus. Means it also stabilizes the plaque, and as you mentioned rightly, it also takes care of the non-culprit lesions, because this patient had some distal lesions, 30-40% in LAD and also in circumflex. I believe they have been very well taken care of, because like abroad, we cannot go for this, as you mentioned, GLAVO study or many other studies with rosuvastatin and other molecules where they have done millimeter to millimeter IVUS, and they found there was regression of the plaque. They measured the plaque with near IVUS, but we are not so affluent. That patient, I cannot ask for anything, because this of course, it is paid by the insurance in both the cases. Otherwise, it's a very costly molecule, and that's the only inhibiting factor. And the recommendation, the guideline tells that the patient, after 4 weeks of treatment, should have LDL reduced by 50%. But you please tell, with rosuvastatin 40, how many patients, or atorvastatin 80, in how many patients, even with the ezetimibe, how many patients we can reduce it to 50%, especially if the cholesterol is so high, 300, 280 or 360 like that. So not only familial hypercholesterolemia, but many patients has hypercholesterolemia, especially in the Muslim population. I find that the cholesterol is very high because they have a food habit like me. I also love to eat biryani and everything. So because of that, mutton, etc., the cholesterol is very high, not only necessarily familial hypercholesterolemia. So this group of patients are extremely unstable patients, and the non-culprit lesions do more harm than the culprit lesions. And my experience, Srinivas, I should tell very honestly, that is fascinating with this molecule. I would request you to experiment this molecule in the acute syndromes. And in majority of the patient, in 90% of the patient at 4 weeks, the LDL cholesterol is below 50%. That is according to guideline. You tell ACC guideline, AHA guideline, then our ESC guideline, or even Indian guideline. So it goes as per the guideline. And it causes significant plaque stabilization seen with combination therapy with statins, and PCSK inhibitors, which is greater than statin monotherapy, has been found to be true with OCT and IVUS-HB trials. And addition of PCSK inhibitors to statin early after ACS has shown not only quantitative improvement of the cholesterol, LDL, triglyceride, or little lipoprotein A also, which we have not been able to attack by any other molecules. Theoretically, niacin, okay. But how many patients we can use niacin? Niacin has produced all negative trials, so we no more use niacin. And they reduce all the entities, And the data from NMR spectroscopy based data has shown that there is regression also of the plaques, especially the non-culprit and the vulnerable plaques. And it is very beneficial, especially in Indian patients with atherogenic dyslipidemia or dyslipidemia, what I have described, not necessarily always familial hypercholesterolemia. We also find that PCSK9 levels are highly upregulated following this acute coronary syndrome, whether it is STEMI, NSTEMI, or anything else. As we found in one of our studies, this is also being mentioned in many foreign literature now, ACS Cure trial. You probably remember, Srinivas, I believe you are also in this trial. I and Upendra Kaul and Shomit Dani were the PIs. And, we established that 80 milligrams of atorvastatin in Indian patients is extremely safe, and there is no problem with safety. And PCSK9 serves as an acute phase reactant and potent mediator of acute inflammation. Just I was talking about this ACS Cure trial with 80 milligrams atorvastatin. The level was very high, The CRP was as high as 87, 92 in many of the patients. And you won't believe, with atorvastatin 80 milligrams, it came to normal level, 2, 3 like that, with 8 weeks of treatment with atorvastatin 80 milligram. So highly sensitive CRP and other reactants, PCSK9 serves as an acute phase reactant, and in the acute coronary syndrome, there is up titration of this molecule, PCSK9. So PCSK9 inhibitors, they do not reduce only the cholesterol or the lipids, especially the oxidized LDL, etc. Because when the PCSK9 is upregulated, the number of oxidized LDL particles increase, like that in diabetic patient, small dense LDLs, which get deposited under the endothelium. And that is the mechanism of action, and they act against this acute phase reactants, and PCSK9 being upregulated is highly downregulated by PCSK9 inhibitors like evolocumab, given proper dosage at a proper time, at a proper interval. And the beauty of this molecule is its acceptability or safety profile, I think, is better than the statins. In my experience, if I continue with 80 milligrams of atorvastatin or 40 milligrams of rosuvastatin, the patient as a rule complains of some muscle pain, muscle cramps, which is not mentioned in the literature like that. If almost many patients complain, sir, I am having regular muscle cramps. You have to give some vitamin E capsules or some vitamin D or Maxalp, etc., like a purgative, because these are the things which we can do to reduce the muscle symptoms. I think with this molecule, there is absolutely no muscle symptoms. So it's a very safe molecule. Neither the elevation of the liver enzymes are there. Whatever is written in the literature, we still get patients after use of high dose statins. There is elevation of the, like elevation of CPK in muscle disorder. There is elevation of, SGOT, SGPT, etc. So I till now do a baseline liver function test, and after a year, not every 3-6 months, and after 1 year, I do a LFT, and in some patients, we do get 3 times elevation of the enzymes. Few patients, of course, but in those patients, we have to, reduce the dose of statins. So it's better, its profile is better, I should tell. In literature, it's written it is acceptable. Its safety profile is very much acceptable. But in my practice, I find it is better than statins in this way, because the side effects of statins were not shown before these molecules came. Now everybody is coming with the side effects of statins. So So anyhow, cells. So this also causes protection of the myocardium by down-regulating the acute phase reactants and the inflammatory markers, the macrophages, the T cells, and other cytokines like VCAM, etc., etc. And these are proved also in some of the trials, smaller trials, EVOPAX, EVAX. Now you can tell we need a randomized trial, but after spending so much of money with Fourier trial, no company will come with some trials because this will take some billions of dollars and long time, which is not possible in the present state of economy. And
Sir,
what is the effect of elevated? Yes, Srinivas, I'll finish within 2 minutes. Okay. Increased formation of PCSK9 inhibitor when given early in SCS elevates level of PCSK9 and thus its effect. So it directly reduces the PCSK9, and pharmacokinetics of these molecules is very much suitable in the ACS setting because there is no drug-drug interaction. Sorry. This is also very important because we cannot use all the molecules like the NSAIDs. We cannot use the NSAIDs in an acute coronary syndrome situation. But we can use this molecule, and there is increased formation of oxidized LDL, increased endothelial damage, destabilization of non-culprit plaques, increased platelet reactivity, increased coagulation due to increased half-life of factor 8, increased migration of monocytes, decreased reverse cholesterol transport, making plaques more inflammatory and more prone to rupture. So we should have to remember these facts, especially in the vulnerable population. I don't tell to give this molecule where the total cholesterol is 150 or the LDL is 100 or around, because our rosuvastatin 40 or atorvastatin 80, I believe rosuvastatin 40 is little stronger than 80 milligrams of atorvastatin, but we can use any of them, and but we believe they are not sufficient to take care of the acute situation. But okay, if the total cholesterol is 150, I am not going to use this molecule because this is a very costly molecule and I shall be judicious in using this. So, ladies and gentlemen, just to summarize my humble submission, that I think this molecule evolocumab, which is a PCSK9 inhibitor, is a very good value addition to our armamentarium of lipid-lowering drugs like statins and ezetimibe, as we can use this molecule in chronic patients of ACS or peripheral arterial disease or cerebrovascular disease with high lipids level. In acute situation, this is also an ideal drug, and in combination with statins, it not only reduces the cholesterol or total cholesterol or LDL or the oxidized cholesterol, but it also reduces the inflammatory markers of acute coronary syndrome and what we have mentioned, and it has a pleiotropic effect and stabilizes the vulnerable plaques. Even it has got a very beneficial action by these virtues on the non-culprit lesions, by which it reduces the mess and the mortality in cases of acute coronary syndrome. Thank you very much again for your kind and patient hearing.
Thank you, Dr. Kali, sir, for expressing your confidence on this molecule and also stressing the fact that they're very efficacious in reducing the cholesterol levels to less than 50, and also sharing your experience in some of those cases and how they behaved well, and highlighting the aspects of usage of that in the acute coronary syndromes. I think, Dr. Gokul, what as sir mentioned is, if a patient presenting with acute coronary syndrome with MI, things like that, with very high cholesterol, suppose it's something like 300 or 200 LDL cholesterol, that's where in spite of using high dose statins, still it cannot come down to less than 70. I think that's not to gain confidence initially, you can straight away start using in those subsets of patients. I think. What do you unmute?
No, Srinivas, I differ a little.
I'm just telling you, just to get confidence.
Yeah, that's right.
Suppose
so
you
we want
can
a very low level of LDL
Yeah.
cholesterol, and not only that, I would rather try to expand my views not only to 80 or 300, but say even if it is 200, for first few months, I am trying to give this molecule and see what happens, because by reducing the inflammatory markers and pleiotropic effect, this is, but okay, if the cholesterol is very low, say 150, it's a normal cholesterol, we won't interfere in those patients. But even with 200 or 200 plus, I would like to give if the patient hasn't got a very tormentive course.
Yeah, I fully agree with that actually. What in our routine practice is, when we start patients on 40 mg of rosuvastatin or 80 mg of atorvastatin, when we see the patient after typical 3 months of post-heart attack, majority cholesterol is around 50, 55 or 60. Very few, probably it could be change of demographics or change of patient substance genetic, or 90% of patients I would say have a cholesterol of 50 to 70 when they come 3 months back. For those patients who have a high cholesterol, despite for 3 months, our standard practice is to go with the Repatha after 3 months. Yes, we would be, this is a good suggestion what Srinivas said, to check the LDL at admission, and if it's very high, like 190, based on Dr. Dimankali's experience, yes, Repatha should help in the initially also.
Dr. Shailendra Singh sir is with us. Let us hear his experience about this molecule in treating these patients in both in chronic and especially in today's discussion for acute coronary syndrome patients. Unmute yourself, sir, and please tell your comments.
Hello, Srinivas. Thank you. As per the new guidelines, indication for use in ACS is those patients who are already on statins, and then they come with an acute MI or an unstable angina, and their LDL levels are above 70. Then you can start using PCSK9 in ICCU itself. In ICCU, you can give, because these patients already on statins and developed MI, these become high-risk people, and therefore we can start using PCSK9 inhibitors in them with ACS. But the guideline says in such patients, you have to get the LDL down to less than 40, which Srinivas mentioned. And that would be one indication. And one other thing is Lp(a) being high is now coming out to 4 to be very important, one of the risk factors for coronary artery disease. Very important, especially those who have Lp(a) above 50. They are at increased risk. Even in our recent guidelines, they have given that it is an risk enhancing factor if the Lp(a) is more than 50. Lp(a) high levels also cause aortic stenosis. That is one other thing that is known to be occurring with Lp(a). I think that should be it. Yeah.
I think we have Dr. Kaparthi also logged in. Dr. Kaparthi, would you like to share your experience?
Actually, this evolocumab molecule, we are using in some particular subsets, as Dr. Shailendra Singh already described. All young MIs with they're presenting MICA ACS or MI around between 20 to 40 years of age. We are using this evolocumab injection in all young MI patients. And second important is, especially repeat interventions. Already patient had a MI or post-stenting. Within 1 year, patient again developed the symptoms of this again ACS or chronic stable syndromes with a patchy plaques in other parts of the vessels. Definitely, we use because the patients are on the statins still not achieved the goal LDL. In those subgroup also, usually we use these evolocumab in the chronic settings. Apart from these, patient along with CAD associate other vascularity like PA, peripheral artery disease, and carotid artery disease, TIA. In this subgroup also, usually we use evolocumab and reach the target levels less than 55. In these 3 subgroups, usually we are using evolocumab regularly.
Yeah, thank you, Kaparthi. Those are the high-risk subsets which are mentioned in 4 years. You see, basically, patient who have a polyvascular disease and patient who have a multivessel disease in MIs and MIs, recurrent MIs and less than 2-year-old MI. Those are found to be high-risk features in 4 years and appropriately started using. I think all of us become more and more experienced with this molecule. One thing I think which is established beyond doubt is once you give 2 shots of these injections, LDL cholesterols, total cholesterols come down significantly to very low levels.
Yes.
I am not that happy with the triglycerides reduction of this molecule. I would like some other molecule to also come up to reduce triglycerides because sometimes in India we also find that also more common. What is your experience, Shailendra sir? Does it lower triglycerides also? You have seen that, or somehow in our patients, I have seen total cholesterol, LDL cholesterol coming down significantly, but
Yes,
triglycerides.
Triglycerides won't come down with PCSK9.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Triglycerides, we need some other molecule, maybe the icosapentaenoic acid, that is icosapent. If the drug is available in India, that we can start using. Because that one drug that has shown that by reducing triglycerides, you also reduce coronary events. Otherwise, no triglyceride reducing drug has reduced coronary events except ethyl icosapent.
Yeah. Reduce the trial, what you're talking about.
Yeah,
basically, when the triglyceride levels are more than 250, 300, that's where the mortality reduction could also happen. If you decrease it from 170 to 120, it may not reduce mortality and events.
Yeah.
That depends upon the pre-existing triglyceride values. If triglycerides are very high, if it's more than 500, we are also worried about pancreatitis and things like that. But if it's about 200, 250 also, the cutoff points, what is described in that is 201, I think. If it is more than that compared to less, it produced some advantages. And also we are now searching for an effective molecule. Icosapentaenoic acid and all that is very high doses. That is a problem. That's why it is not coming into Indian market.
And in a recent trial,
4 grams we need to give.
Yeah.
In a recent trial, it has been shown that this icosapentaenoic acid has got some adverse effects. Just very recently, just last week, it came up. And they are recommending that we should not take that high dose of, because it's only effective. And another thing, at a low level of lipids, if we achieve with statins and this molecule, or even with statins alone, or a moderate dose of statins in case of statin intolerance along with PCSK9 inhibitors, the MACE-producing property of these triglyceride molecules are not there. Because triglycerides are, because of their remnant protein, they are called, and they also gets deposited in the subendothelial layer. But that effect is only present when the cholesterol is high. So when the cholesterol is low, we haven't got any data to show that triglycerides are atherogenic. And above the level of 500, as you rightly mentioned, we are not bothered about the triglyceride because they are large floppy molecules then, and they don't get deposited subendothelially, and they only produce acute pancreatitis. So we are bothered about pancreatitis. So these triglycerides are not that atherogenic if the cholesterol is down.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I think we have Bharat Purohit joined. Purohit, you would like to share your experience of usage of this molecule? If you keep your cameras open, I think we can freely know each other. Wow. Purohit, over to you. We're not able to hear you.
No, sir.
Yeah, better now. Go ahead.
Yeah, basically, we have used this molecule in very limited patients, mainly because of the cost which is involved. It's very, very expensive molecule. It costs almost 30,000-35,000 rupees per month cost. But
Reddy's will tell Purohit, you do micra and all, which cost 10 lakhs, and if you're using this, why are you worried? Anyway, go ahead.
As sir has previously said, Kaparthi sir has previously told that the subset where we generally use, like patient who had already had a bypass and we have done a stenting, or the patient who has come with a angioplasty and within 6 months or 8 months we are seeing a restenosis. These are the patients we generally prefer. And what I have seen is when we give this molecule, the LDL cholesterol definitely comes down to very low level, maybe around 20, 30, and in many cases it has come down to single digit also. But what is happening is patients do not take it for long. They take it only for say 4 months and 6 months, and then subsequently they come back and say, "Sir, it is very expensive. Or can you change it?" So reduce it to once a day, but I don't know whether it really works or not. Only drawback which I have seen in this molecule is the data doesn't support that it really improves mortality, the all-cause mortality or cardiovascular mortality. It does improve your overall cardiac events, but their data on mortality is not much, and probably that is one of the major they still do not have much data to suggest that really it helps in improving the MACE outcome. Yes, the data with Evopax and Evax, it clearly shows that it reduces your LDL cholesterol to dramatic level. But what it is impact on outcome, that data we still don't have. So that is why till now we still say that, and their role in reducing the inflammatory marker and all this thing like HSCRP is hardly there. It doesn't cause any change in inflammatory markers. So in post-ACS patients, especially, you have very high in pro-inflammatory state is going on. So how does it work in this phase? So that's the reason why probably we still go ahead with a high dose of statin post ACS patient, and then after 4 weeks, when we have a stable LDL cholesterol, we know that this is the LDL, then we go ahead and do it, because any ACS will reduce your LDL or lipid profile levels. So at that point of time, you do not know what is the stable or what is the baseline with which you are starting. So these are some of the issues which still needs to be answered, and I don't know whether they have any trial which is coming up to look at the mortality outcome in ACS patient when you start it early. So whatever we have is with ODC outcome, and then you do it after 4 weeks. So that's what the recommendation has come till now. That's what
I think I support Dr. Purohit's statement, Srinivas, and I think I would request Reddy's to have an Indian registry, not a very big one, but in acute coronary syndrome with active participation of interventional cardiologists from across the country. We can have in Indian data very soon, and we can look without this molecule what happens and with this molecule what happens. So we can have some inclusion exclusion criterion, and we can look at our own population. Of course, Dr. Purohit, those were not acute coronary syndrome patients, but in the ODC outcome trial, the MACE and the mortality was little less. Though mortality, as you rightly have pointed out, was statistically not that significant, but there was some numerical reduction in the mortality, but the MACE was significantly reduced, which achieved p-value and this ODC outcome, because I was a part of this study. So they have some Indian patients, I think few hundred Indian patients in that study, among several thousand patients. But I sincerely request the Reddy's lab to have some Indian data on acute coronary syndrome patients.
I did suggest to Abhishek and Prashant and all others, I hope they are listening about the same. At least we should collect, start collecting the data in which it is used also. Purohit, I think what we should all know is wherever the risk is maximum, mortality is maximum, there only the reduction happens with any drug molecule which is used. ACS, acute MI, where the mortality is high, then you will have a mortality benefit. We use in chronic type of situations where the mortality is little less, it will be difficult to prove advantage of reducing deaths and mortalities. That's how events reduce, but mortality may not reduce. Hope in ACS and MI scenarios also, this molecules proves. Coming to your point of patients not taking it regularly, like every 2 weeks, once you take means it's becoming expensive. Whether initially to reduce it, you use it like that and then take it once a month, whether it will have a equal, some benefit at least could be also studied in Indian subcontinent. Abhishek, do you have any data in literature that any usage decreased to once a month, would it have same benefit, some benefit? Any data?
No, sir, actually, no. We don't have any literature but from the patient data, like which I've seen somewhere, like for LDL reduction, once in a month can do, sir, but that will become off-label because once you stop the drug, the LDLs again start raising at the end of like 25 to 28 days after stopping the drug, sir. So if the LDL is like very low, like, less than 20, less than 30 or something, then you can make it as once in a month. But if LDL is still like 70, 80, especially in case of heterozygous familial hypercholesterolemia.
Let us collect some data in the real world also, what is going on also we'll know, and some advantage there with once day, month also we'll know in it. I think we should keep collecting whatever, at least wherever you are selling this molecule, that can be the pickup points and assess these patients' data. I think we have
Sure.
Dr. Madam also joined now. Madam, you want to share your experience or thoughts with this molecule?
Yeah, as you all have discussed very clearly and very exponentially and very, very detailing that regarding the acute coronary syndrome and chronic stable angina, how do we approach? I think acute coronary syndrome approach would be more practical and more, scenario wise, it is the most important point is to reduce the recurrence and the recurrent rate of acute coronary syndromes, so which can be prevented. And as we have used in our young acute MI, where we have done culprit vessel angioplasty and afterwards non-culprit, which were little distally placed and they were not very approachable and not very good for the practical scenario of doing angioplasty. We have used this PCSK9 inhibitor molecule in acute coronary syndrome situations in the hospital and before the discharge. And I think that is the best time when we can introduce this molecule, because that time patients are mostly usually they have an insurance backup. And once you start with their insurance backup, their company can support like CGHS or some companies like BHL and other companies. So they can support their monthly requirement of 2 injections if it goes into their discharge summary as a drug in their usage. So we can give it as a regular use in the discharge summary, and they can continue to use it through their insurance policy or through their company support policy. So the patient is not burdened and the required amount of correct medication is given as a GDMT, guideline directed medication, and patient gets benefit, and they don't get, their pocket don't get pinched so much if we can use it as acute coronary syndrome scenario. That is one thing. And few of the celebrities I've seen in our Telugu film industry, where they don't want to use statins because they have to do a lot of muscular activities during their stunts and all. So they don't want statins because they get a lot of aches and pains and these things. They like PCSK9 inhibitor. I have used in some of them, and they are going with that and very happy with that. And they are doing regular stunts and all in their during their professional career. So there are so many other scenarios like LPA reduction. So in that situation also I have used in one patient for LPA. It was really high and familial dyslipidemia. So these are the scenarios where we have to really use them. But for the chronic stable angina, after we use the high dose of statins and really bring down the LDL cholesterol, which are not very familial, so they come down to below 70, up to 30, 20 also have got down with full dose of statins and with good tolerability. So there I don't think that I would use PCSK9 inhibitor as it's not guideline directed then. So that is how it is our experience.
Thank you, madam. And I think madam has given good suggestions how to improve marketing of how to get it approved in insurance and other things. Reddy's is also trying for it. And many of the times they keep requesting in insurance patients and things like that to uses this molecule. I don't know whether it gets reimbursed or not, but where the patient is not paying for it also, still you find it beneficial, because that's where we tend to use it even if the patient is paying for himself. Madam, but in cinema actors and all, you said, we had one patient who is actually the top in the industry, but he says, can we get a sample from the company? So that also patients don't want to spend when it comes to health aspects is concerned. They will say whether you get a sample. So that is a mindset of people where they spend a lot for eating biryanis and all that, but when it comes to health, they want something which is really available. I think we have Dr. Srinath, Dr. Anup. Anybody wants to pass any comments?
Sir, we have Dr. Srinath.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody.
Can you open your camera?
I've used it in stable angina patients where the high dose statins could not reduce the LDL. And Ripata has definitely reduced the LDL levels to 40, 30 and all. And with this discussion, I am very much interested to start it in acute coronary syndrome, which I have not done till now, because as it has shown good plaque stabilization, and it's might be very beneficial in multivascular disease, where we do the culprit vessel and the other lesions can be controlled with Ricotta. And as said, this corporate, I have written for few patients, but they could not get it from the corporate end, and the patient refused to buy on their own. So had to manage them with high dose statins only.
Okay. Thank you, Srinath. And I saw Dr. Sanjeev, Dr. Ramakrishna. Anybody wants to say? Are you there? Whoever now, as we are getting the time, anybody wants to have any comment, please?
So we have Dr. M.N. Raju from consultant cardiologist from Vizag. Dr.
Yeah,
M.N. Raju, can you please unmute your mic and
muted? Mic is muted, Raju.
Yeah. Dr. M.N. Raju, can you please unmute your mic and give your comments?
I think he's not there or what. I don't know. What is this? Anybody else wants to say anything before we close? Or we'll go for one round of final comments from our speakers today, and then I'll conclude. Anybody else wants to say anything before we close?
Dr. J.K. Padi is there, sir.
Who?
Dr. J.K. Padi.
Dr. J.K. Padi, I am not able to see them because the cameras are not open.
Sir, I think sir is not connected to audio.
Okay. So he wants to speak something, Padi? No? Okay. Then I think we had a very good discussion and very positive comments from most of the doctors who have their experience. One thing which is proven beyond doubt is very effective in lipid lowering. The LDL levels and total cholesterols come down significantly, and how to use it and which are the subsets which benefit most maximum. Also, we had some discussion. Any final comments you want to say, Dr. Gokul? Unmute you.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
It will be very interesting to actually, as Dr. Kahari sir has said, to have a Indian data, because molecule is too expensive to use for every ACS patient. You know, the ACS patients, there's so many number, and the general financial state is also not that good. So if you're able to get some Indian data saying some mortality benefit compared to hydrostatin alone, probably yes, that is the crux of it. And I'm more than fully convinced of the molecule's efficacy in stable CAD. And in medicine, the higher the risk, higher the benefit. So by that logic also, in ACS, the benefit should be much higher than non-ACS patients. So definitely would bring forward but I would request Reddy's to have a data in ACS so that we people who are not yet started using ACS would be convinced. Yes, it's a good molecule, great future.
Thank you. Thank you, Gokul. And Dr. Kahali sir, you already told extensively, but any final comments?
Thank you, Srinivas. So what I have told, I don't want to repeat, but just to tell that these PCSK9 inhibitors as a whole, evolocumab and alirocumab, because I have experience with both the molecules, are very effective lipid lowering drugs. And we have used in a few cases, not though extensively, in acute coronary syndrome patients with very beautiful outcomes. And the patient has been doing extremely well from an extremely unstable situation, both symptomatically and hemodynamically, and even during the intervention. They were really high-risk patients. And we have tried in patients with cholesterol more than 190 or 200 milligrams per deciliter, not all the patients with acute coronary syndrome. But again, I would request Dr. Reddy's lab to come forward with the registry data. I believe it will not be very expensive, and we can see the outcome of this molecule, because it's a very expensive molecule, but life is more valuable. So if we can give some few decades of life to a 34-year-old gentleman, what can be more beneficial? Because after a few months or few years, we don't have to give evolocumab to this patient because they adhere lifestyle modification. Already the patient has lost a few kgs. His cholesterol is down to below 190 or around. So these are very good molecules. And if we can reduce the cholesterol, I believe, and along with that, the markers, because PCSK9 is actively involved with high level of PCSK9 inhibitors. PCSK9 molecule, which occurs during the acute coronary syndrome, is also associated with high level of these molecules. These BCAMs and all these markers, IVUS data, which has proved that though those are not very voluminous, but still they are contributory. So I believe if Reddy's take a few thousand patients from India, number of patients is not a problem. Dr. Srinivas himself can give a few hundred patients, and we can see in all our patients that how this molecule does in acute coronary syndrome, and actually whether there is any relation with mortality or not. Because I do believe that if a patient becomes so good hemodynamically, symptomatically, and by all the parameters of examination like physical examination, ECG, echo, everything, there has been improvement in the ejection fraction also. So why not? As I mentioned, that they have got a beneficial effect by preventing apoptosis on the cardiomyocytes, which occurs by PCSK9 inhibitors, and also on hepatic cells. So why not we come out with a study or registry? It will not be expensive, and we can further evaluate the molecule. But just to conclude, our initial experience in patients with acute coronary syndrome is very good, and I can recommend the molecule for use in such patients in our Indian population. Thank you, Srinivas, my very good friend, and thanks Reddy's for allowing me to talk on the occasion.
Thank you, sir. I think what Reddy's can immediately do is collect the data of in patients in which it is being used at least. And if you can further prospectively do it in ACS is good, but at least to make strong Indian data, as Sir Kala has the experience, like if 250, 290, it became like 150. At least dogmatically, definitely you can collect the data of pre and post usage of the lipid levels and then go on to using further in ACS. That at least can be done straight away. And I think if there are no further comments, we are coming to the end of the session. What is most difficult in using this in something related with PCSK9, Abhishek? What is it? What is difficult? It's a very useful molecule, user-friendly molecule. No? Just give subcutaneous injection. It works for 2 weeks and no headache of taking daily. All that is very good. But most difficult is what is this PCSK9 inhibition to expand, have it. The full form is to know it is the most difficult thing. Why new things always come with such sort of challenging terminologies? I don't know. Pro-protein convertase, what all subtilisin, pexin injection. What is so difficult to remember? But anyway, thanks to it, you have a short form PCSK9. Otherwise, it is protein convertase, subtilisin, kexin type 9 inhibitor receptor molecule. So challenging. New research always comes with some challenging terminology. In a lighter vein, I just wanted to mention, I think if there are any further final comments from Reddy's, from Abhishek or Prashant or anybody, you can do it before we close. Thank you all for your very good, effective communication and comments, sir. Thank you. Special thanks to Kahali, sir, for sparing your valuable time. And Dr. Gokul, in spite of all his personal problems and tough times, still over to you, Abhishek, for your closure.
Okay. Views in a beautiful way and in an easy way so that everyone can understand it very easily. And I also thank our panel members, special panel members, Dr. Kapadi, Dr. Kapadi sir, Dr. Srinath sir, and Dr. Shailendra sir, Dr. Tripti Deb, all of them making time in this afternoon to